afternoon. Welcome back to my channel Math Made Easy. Today's topic is factorizing quadratics. This part of video is linked to my previous video in which I have explained to factorize the quadratic equation in which there was no component with x square with the first term. But in this question, there's a little bit different from the other quadratics. It got a component, the first term got a component here. The previous questions were like x square minus 5x minus 3. But in this question, we got component with the first term, and that changes the whole story. So we have to find some pairs according to this equation. Now, before we were finding the pairs for 5 and 3, but in this equation when we got a component in front of the first term, then we have to multiply the first term component with the last term constant. So first constant is going to multiply with the last term constant. So 3 times 2 is 6. Now we got two factor pairs for 6 and the middle term minus 5. Before it was only 3 and minus 5. But in this equation, when we got a constant in front of the first term, then we have to multiply. This is very important point, that you have to check your quadratic equation before starting your question, whether there is any constant at the start of the equation or there's no constant at the start. So when we have a constant at the start of the equation for the first term, we multiply the first constant with the last term constant. 3 times 2 is 6, but there is a minus sign as well. That is very important. So now we got minus 6 and minus 5. Let's start finding the pairs. So I have to find two numbers. Just another quick tip. When you got two minus signs in the equation, this is a very quick tip for the students to remember for the quick application of the equation. When you got two minus signs in the equation, the next two factor pairs, one will be the plus and one will be the minus. I have explained this tip in the previous video as well, but I'm just reminding you this tip that will really help you to find two factor pairs. If you got two minus signs in the equation, the two factor pairs, one will be the plus sign, one will be the minus sign. And when we got one plus sign and one minus sign in the equation, then factor pairs will be two minus signs. So alternatively, if now we got two minus signs, I will explain by finding the factor pairs. So now I have to find 3 times 2 is 6, minus 6 plus minus minus, and minus 5 in the pair in the middle term. Two factor pairs, when you multiply, the answer should be minus 6, and when you add them together, the answer should be minus 5. So which two factor pairs? If I write 3 times 2, that will be minus 6, but if you add them together, the answer will be minus 1. So minus 3, if I do minus 2, minus minus plus, 3 times 2, 6, but if I add them together, the answer should be minus 5. So there should be a factor pair in which if we multiply them together, I will solve this question in front of you. So to explain these terms, this is very carefully. If I write 2x square minus 3x plus 2x minus 3. 3 times 2 is 6, but minus 3 plus 2 equals to minus 5. No, minus 3 plus 2 equals to minus 1. So I have to change. I've told you that when two numbers are minus, one will be the plus and one will be the minus sign. But this factor pair answer is wrong. So by putting the values inside the equation, you can check whether your factor pairs are right or wrong. So keep finding factor pairs. This is very important. The answer is wrong here as well, because when you minus 3 minus 2 is plus, minus minus plus, 3 times 2 is 6, it's not minus 6. We have to find these two numbers. If you multiply, the answer should be minus 6. If you add them together, answer should be minus 5. And bear in mind the two numbers, because there are two minuses here, so one number will be positive and one number will be negative. Always, if you keep these small tips in your mind, then it will be really easy for you to solve the question, because this is a number game. Quadratics, proper number game. So very careful with your numbers. I've told you these two factor pairs, minus 3, minus 6, but answer is minus 1, minus 3, minus 2, answer is 6. But we got a minus 5, but we can't find the minus 6. Think about it. There's another factor pair, 6 and 5. If I write minus 6 times, one is plus, one is minus, plus 1. What is the answer? Minus 6 times plus 1, answer is minus 6. If I add them together, minus 6 plus 1, minus 5. You have to be very good with your timetables, and plus it was in my mind, because there are two minus signs. I have to find two factor pairs, because this factor pair got minus and plus as well, but the answer is wrong. Plus minus, minus 6, we got minus 6, but when plus minus 3 plus 2 is answer is minus 1, so this answer was wrong. So this factor pair, when you multiply minus 6 times plus 1, answer is minus 6 plus minus minus, 6 times 1 is 6, minus 6 plus 1 is equal to minus 5, plus, because plus minus minus, plus minus minus, 6 minus 1 is 5, but the sign a bigger number, which is a bigger number, 6. Don't forget these tips. I'll keep reminding these tips for you, so you remember these tips, these rules as well. So it will be really easy for you to solve any hard question. If you will keep remembering these tips, plus if you got two minus signs, the two factor pairs will be plus minus. If there are two, I will solve another question with the different signs to show you that if you got plus and minus in your quadratic equation, the two factor pairs will be of minus sign. I've got the factor pairs. 2x square minus 6 and minus 5. Which factor pairs? Minus 6 and plus 1. So if I write, I wrote this one. 2x square, instead of minus 5x, I can write minus 6x plus x minus 3. 3 times 2 is 6, plus minus minus, 6 times 1 is 1, plus minus minus 6, multiplying minus 6, minus 6 plus 1, minus 5. So I'm getting the right factor pair here. So again, factorizing two equations together. What is the common in these two terms? There's a plus sign, there's a minus sign, then 2 and 6. These two are 6 is a multiple of 2, so I can take 2 common outside. X and x, there's one x, there are two x's, so one x is common in both terms. What is the leftover? 2 is outside. Instead of 2 x's, I've taken 1 x outside. How many x's left? 1 plus minus 2. How many times is 6? 3. 1 x is gone outside, so there is no leftover inside. So plus, what is the common in these two terms? I can't see anything common in these two terms, but when there's nothing common, then there's plus 1 is common. So plus 1 outside. We have to write this equation. Remember, I can't see anything common in these two terms, but when there's nothing common, there's one common. So I'm writing plus 1 outside, x minus 3. And this is another tip. If you are getting, after solving all this question, these two terms, look for these two terms. If these two terms are coming equal, after factorizing these two equations, after these four, if these two brackets are same, then you are doing the right answer. Then you are doing the right way. Now, again, what is the common in these two terms? X minus 3 in this, x minus 3 in this equation. So, x minus 3 is common in two equations. What is the leftover? So, learn how to write the leftovers. So in these two equations, when there are 4 terms, I've divided 2 terms in the pair of 2 terms. So I've taken common 2 from this equation. X was common because there are 2 x's, there's only 1 x, x outside, x minus 3, there's nothing common in these 2 terms, plus 1 is common, x minus 3 remainder. Now from these 2 terms, factorizing again until there's no more terms to factorize. So x minus 3 is common in these 2 terms, so we write 1 time, and leftover in these 2 terms, 2x here plus 1 here, I've combined them together. So that is our final answer, x minus 3 and 2x plus 1. Write it down, this question, for your future reference. Make some notes. Copy all the questions in your book, and that will really help you for your when you will be revising for your exams. I'm just trying to help you to solve the questions. I'm going to solve another question now with a different signs. These are very easy questions. If you are good with your timetables, I'm telling you the right tips how to remember the signs, and just remember, if you got 2 minus signs, then your factor pair is going to be the minus, one with the plus. I'm going to solve another question with a different signs. It's very easy to find the factor pairs. You just need to be very good with your timetables. The next question. X square minus 19x plus 10. In this quadratic equation, again we got a constant before the first term. So again the rule is different. So now you have to multiply the first term with the last term. So now you are going to plus sign. So 10 times 6, 60. So you have to find 2 factor pairs for multiplication to get the 60. And the minus 19 in the middle. So you have to add them together to get the minus 19. I'm writing these numbers in front of you so it will be easy for you to find the factor numbers. Look, for the signs, tip, when you got minus and plus sign, then the 2 factor pairs will be 2 minus signs. Will be with 2 minus signs. So this is our next case. 60 and 19. Factor pairs. 10 times, easy one. 10 times 6, 60. Both are plus sign, but tip minus minus. Minus minus plus is 60, but minus 10 minus 6 is equal to, and you add them together, that is minus 16, but it's not 19. So we have to find 60 and then a factor pair for 19. Where's minus 2? Another factor pair, 10 times 60. So which is the other timetable which goes in 60? If I go for 2 times 30 is 60, but if you put the minus 2 minus sign, is minus 30 minus is minus 32. So this is not a factor pair. So 10 times 6 is 60 minus 19. So it's not coming in 2 timetable, it's not coming in 10 timetable. We have to find another timetable. Which other timetable? It comes 2, next is 4. If I multiply 4 times 15, this is 60. Yes, 15 times 4 is 60 because 15 times 2 is 30, 30 times 2 is 60. 2 minus signs. That's, I know that minus and plus, 2 minus signs. Minus 4 into minus 15 is minus minus plus 60. But if I add minus 4 plus minus 15 equals minus 4 plus minus 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 15 is equal to minus 19. Here you go, we got the right factor pair, minus 19 and 60. So you have to find the right factor pair by multiplying different timetables until you get the right numbers, right signs. But the tip will definitely help you. If you go minus and plus, then the two numbers will be minus with minus signs. I'm going to write this factor pair here. So 6x squared, instead of minus 19x, I can write minus 15x minus 4x plus 10. 15 times 4, 60. And 15 and 4 add, minus minus add is 19. There you go. I'm going to check my answer. So now you have to factorize, make a pairs of two terms. 6x squared and x squared. What is the common? 6 and 15, which is a common factor. They both come in 3 timetable. And x and x, there are 2 x's, there is only 1 x. So what is the common in these two terms? If I write like this, only 1 x is common in both terms. This gone, this gone. What is the leftover? 3, how many times is 6? You have to read the timetable. 3 times 2 is 6, only 1 x left. 3 times 5 is 15, no x left. Now there is a minus sign here. When the minus sign is the start of the equation or the factors of factorization and anything, then it changes all the signs inside. I'm taking minus here. What is common between 2, 4 and 10 is 2 timetable. X is not common, there's only 1 x in here, so remainders. Minus is there, 2 times 2 is 4, x remainder, plus minus. Because of the minus, all the signs inside the bracket, they changes. So they flip the plus, then it is minus. 2 times 5 is 10. So both the equations are same, so it means my factor pairs are correct. Again, take the common between these two terms. 2x minus 5 left over 3x minus 2 from both terms, and that is our correct answer after factorizing this quadratic equation. It's easy, but it's not very easy. It is hard, but if you will go through the rules and the tips I have given you, if you are able to find the correct factor pairs with the right timetables, then it's not hard. It's really easy, it's very interesting, and I really like factorizing quadratics actually, because it's challenging, and you have to find the right factor pairs. I love when we have to find the factor pairs, but it is really hard to find the correct factor pairs. It will be really lengthy process, but if you will keep these two rules, if you got minus and plus sign in your equation, the two factor pairs will be minus, 2 minus. But the previous question, if you got two minus signs in your quadratic equation, the two factor pairs will be, one will be plus and one will be the minus. So here you go, you got the right answer here, and I hope you like my video. Don't forget to subscribe, share. Maths Made Easy.